Okay, so what are some of the other things that you found starting out the podcast that you probably hadn't thought of would be a problem, but was a problem?
Oh, there's a bunch of that.
Hey there, it's Thomas from Sleepless Studios here. Thanks for listening to Sleepless, a podcast about the creative process. As you can see, we've officially opened the new Podcast Pro space here at Sleepless Studios. Robin and I originally started shooting season 2 while we were still building the space. But as you can see now, it's looking great. When we recorded this episode, the decor and design of the set was still evolving and the video equipment wasn't quite there yet, but the interviews were so good we wanted to share them with you. Thanks so much for watching, and please enjoy the first live recorded episode of Sleepless with Back and Body Hurts.
And here we are on the Sleepless Pod with a live stream with Back and Body Hurts. Very welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Ouch, everything hurts.
What you don't see on camera is we have a bunch of people here at the open house. So if you are watching live, feel free to come on down.
Your audience. Woo!
Yeah, the actual live podcast. Thanks to everyone here.
We love our fans. We love our fans at B&B.
So yeah, B&B. So tell us, you've started out the podcast. How long have you been going for now?
So we are just over a year. I think our year just hit January, and literally the first year is just growth for us. Like, just setting things up, making sure our one co-host never got another roommate. So we had the studio to use. He's right now filming us.
Hey, shout out to you, Kern.
Shout out to you, Kern. And then it's just growing. Like the one thing is you're feeding off like other people in the industry and just seeing what they're doing and then trying to modify it for what we want to do, which has been like seeing your guys set up is really cool too. And seeing how we can replicate it to ours and how make ours unique is really nice.
They grew by adding me too.
Yes, we added Claudia.
Nice. So for the listeners and for people who are checking in, tell us what is the podcast about?
So we focus on the EDM scene in general. Pretty much all things EDM is what we say. We didn't want to just do like DJ interviews. We've seen there's a podcast out west that's a little like I'm Peaking Podcast that a lot of people know. They're built off influencers, but we didn't want to just do like DJ interviews. We wanted to do like actual topics you can like go to, right? So like if you want to learn how to camp, we have an episode for that, right? It's like something that you can watch later on and still be relevant and maybe add on to it too. So we've had like a bunch of episodes, different variety, like how to rave as a parent. Something people don't talk about. Like, how do you actually manage raving as a parent?
What is the top tip for raving as a parent that you took out of the podcast? Oh, do you want
Parents
to say that?
are so helpful.
Nice.
Rely on parents.
Yeah.
Parents are also so down to go party.
You probably want to have this question.
Thank you.
Yeah, parents will take your grandchild, or like your children, and they just want them.
Okay, so what are some of the other things that you found starting out the podcast that you probably hadn't thought of would be a problem, but was a problem?
Oh, there's a bunch of that. So how we actually launched
Somebody's about to get into detail.
our origin story. Our origin story was myself and Benny were at a rave, and it was like 4 a.m. in the morning, and Benny turns to me, and this is in New York. Yo, you want to start a podcast? I'm like, huh? And this is also after our adventure of having like no sleep.
Can I also
flights
just like
canceled.
veer off that? Because the time that you and Yikern asked me to be on the podcast was also at Misano at like 2 a.m. And they're like, yo, you want to
I'm
be
seeing
on
a
a
trend
podcast?
here.
And I'm like, yes.
I'm like, are you sure you want to wait till tomorrow to think about it?
Yeah, they were like, you want to wait till tomorrow? I'm like, no, I'm in.
So the one interesting thing is that we were like, okay, what equipment do we need? And we just like kind of got it. The actual deck, we tried to get like 3 different decks. We went through like 3 different like recording decks before we decided to splurge on an actual like podcaster one.
Yeah,
and it's been wonderful ever since. But we also were
Nice word, wonderful.
we also were like experimenting with how we wanted to do the episodes. If we want to do it like weekly, what do we want to talk about? So the one thing is that because we didn't want to just do interviews, we initially obviously just as us, we just started as like, what happened in Toronto, because we're more focused on the Toronto scene, right?
Yeah,
it's more local.
And do you think you're going to stay at that?
God bless you.
I think we're gonna try to hone in on Canada mostly, but
Okay.
our topics will be all over because
Okay.
a lot of Canadians travel. Like if from Toronto, they go to Las Vegas, like EDC Las Vegas. They go to Tomorrowland. They go to Ultra Miami. So we travel too. We love going to Europe. We love going to all these different festivals. So it's honestly we'll talk about worldwide stuff, but in terms of like we'll focus on like local promotion, local events, just because we're Toronto based.
And
Yeah.
that's sort of what we're trying to do. Like, we're trying to get the Toronto scene up and known because there's so many talented artists and like producers and everything in the Toronto scene that we want to get out into the open. So
The one nice thing we've noticed too is that like starting a podcast, it's like everyone has these ideas that have in like group chat, right? Like
Yeah.
one topic that's near and dear to us is the trance scene in Toronto, which is quote unquote dead or dying.
Oh,
listen
interesting.
to our last podcast.
But which is like but it's just kind of like no one can actually like you just see like forum posts about it, but to actually have someone come on and actually speak their heart about it is like different, right?
But I do think though that trance is going to have its renaissance again. Like you look at DJ Chandy Trance, Malin Hofstad, who's
So-
like really changing the game. Like I think there's going to be like a renaissance of trance for sure.
That's what we're hoping too, and that's in one of our episodes. In one of our episodes, that's one of our emerging trends in like 2025 is the addition of Eurodance.
Yeah.
Eurodance right now in Europe is huge. Like it's taking off, and the way we always look at it is that music genres slowly come to North America later as
Yeah.
popularities. Like something that's taking off in like Berlin, we'll slowly start to see it here. But you are seeing the nice thing about the Toronto scene is the amount of promoters and the amount of new people are coming up and bringing in new sound like Industry, Takeover 6. You have the Tribunal partnership with the Old Timers Electric Escape. They're all trying to pool together and like bring more artists in, which is
Yeah.
like just good for the scene.
No, it definitely is. I think one thing though that I would say, and I've heard a few Canadians say this, is like, oh, Europe is always so far ahead. But like people forget that like techno was started in North America,
Yep.
house was started in North America.
Chicago.
Like a lot of the roots of some of the best like music actually started in North America. And I think like a bit of a hot take is we're in Canada too quickly to say, oh, we're not ahead of the times, instead of like owning what's coming out of the city. Because I think, especially in Toronto, there is some incredible artists
Yeah,
coming
there
through.
are.
incredible artists, yeah.
Tons.
You know, and even we were discussing like hard techno is on the rise, and I think you listed out some fantastic event producers, and like the level of that hard techno and that sound coming out of Toronto, I think will be very unique in the coming years.
But the one thing about that is, and this is where the debate happens, is that, well, everyone calls hard techno the TikTok techno, right?
Yeah.
So like old hard techno, people say like it's been around for. It's also called hard style. Some people
Yeah.
say it's hard style, but I guess the one thing we're curious to see is that is it going to phase out soon? I don't think it will because it's just breaching here, but I think in Europe it is phasing out a little bit.
Yeah.
Because even some of the ones, like I went to Teletech last year, which is in Manchester, they introduced a trance tunnel.
Yeah.
And the reason why they did that is for what we just talked about.
yeah.
Did we not talk about this too, though? Like trance and techno are basically like interrelated. They're
Everything is
basically,
trance.
Like, they're basically,
Yeah.
everything is trance.
Everything
That's what
is
I'm
trance,
trying to
everyone.
sense.
Everything is trance.
That's what, yeah.
It's just slow trance, fast trance, hard trance.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny as well. Like, I think all these genres comes in swings and roundabouts, right? You have the peaks of commercialization, and when something gets commercialized, like a music style, I've spoken about this as well. Like dubstep was a big example. Like you had, when Skrillex stops playing dubstep, that it's overhyped. So like the ebbs and flows of like these kind of genres is definitely something, that plays that role in that as things get more commercialized.
And like right now, Afro house is the big thing,
Yeah.
the biggest thing. And
Yeah.
even like there's been so many.
You mean everyone having phones up?
I'm not saying that. But even like, so Alesso had a competition to like produce this new song and everything. And like the top song was Afro house.
Yeah.
So like,
Why do you think that is?
because that's the most popular thing right now. It's kind of music.
Yeah, I mean, kind of music have been grinding for years, though.
Yeah.
And
You know
I'm
what?
I've
actually-
been grinding for years and like bless them.
The
Like,
rise of
that's
Afro House
awesome.
actually caught me off guard, to be honest.
Yeah,
I did not expect because it's like very low BPM,
yeah,
but it is a daytime
But
party
it's
vibe.
so groovy.
It is very groovy.
And I think people want to party during the day now, not during the night until like the wee hours of the morning.
But I always thought it was just there. I just didn't know. Sometimes it just takes that one song.
Everything was always there though.
Well, that's true too. But I guess it's like last year, "Move," the song "Move."
Yeah,
it just
that blew up. Yeah.
And that's where my phone reference comes in. And
Yeah.
I saw they were just did Tulum, and one of the
It
slides
looks
was
sick though.
they brought in like a huge custom
Phone?
Backtrack. Yeah.
a huge recording. Well, that reminds me of like when Eric Prydz did his Hollow show and he had the phone come out recording the audience.
Recording the audience. Yeah.
As one of his visuals. But with that, it's like you just see Move play and all of a sudden you look at the pan video and you just see all these phones up.
So how often would you say you've looked at a recording that you've done at a concert or something? Like,
Honestly, I did it last night.
okay, so that's always what
it makes me so happy. Like I know, the way I do it is I record and I will have my phone here and I'll actually like take in the experience. And I know people like give me shit for that, but I look back at it and it's been, from the first Tomorrowland that I did, I was looking at videos from Tomorrowland from the first one last year and I cried.
Yeah.
I rewatch all.
It's worth it.
I
I'm sorry,
rewatch
it's
all
worth
my
it.
videos.
Like I rewatch all my videos all the time and I'll go,
Closer.
sorry.
It's like a fist away is the general rule.
Sorry.
Yeah, I rewatch all my videos and I go even more insane, I would say, with the way I do my videos and like posting.
Yeah.
So like Eric Prydz is in town at History and everyone knows he has IDs, right?
Yeah.
I actually,
ID,
when I like
ID.
to post my videos, I do it like a little bit of a story where I'll actually like post it and like tag the ID that I know and like it'll be a sequence.
Okay.
So like and then I save it so that later, like if I go to a festival, I can literally just watch my stories as the highlights. I call them, and then just that's my
Wow,
highlights.
you
Yeah.
really think through this because I just go there and show up. But whatever.
Then, yeah, it just goes back to then all the hate that people are getting for like, recording. Like, I get it. Like, I think people want to dance.
Do you
but-
think that's bad? Like, do you
So
think
what I-
recording
what
a
I
video
think
like and having
I-
like the best moment in your life?
So I can give you two examples where I think it's
Okay.
bad. So one is if you're not dancing and everyone is just like this, like what is you go?
The
to
vibe is off.
It's called dance music for a reason.
The vibe is off. I
right?
agree.
It's called dance
What
music
if I'm
for a
dancing
reason.
and
So
like also like
yeah,
bringing
I
it
mean
down?
whatever, that's fine.
If you're like dropping
like
it
I'm
low.
dropping it low. And I'm just going like, whoop.
There's also
Okay, unique scenario.
there's also
Okay.
those
I am very unique.
there's also those ones where the person or people just can't stop being off their phone. So then like you wake up in the morning and they're like, oh, you'll never guess what you did last night, and it's just like a video
I also don't
montage
wanna
of
see
so
that.
many people like out of it. So people are there to have fun, have a vibe. So I think they're just, it's like the same way of getting through a crowd. As long as you do it respectfully, I don't think anyone cares. But I think it's where you're pushing and shoving and putting it in people's
But
faces.
I think that you have to have like a recollection of what you're doing. Like if recording it, I don't think it's a bad thing per se. Like if you're doing it nonstop and you're just standing there and like doing one of these constantly, then
yeah,
it's kind of
it's-
annoying.
it's-
But like I literally, like I said, like I went back last night and I was
Yeah.
rewatching my videos from Tomorrowland 2023.
then it's definitely so worth
And
it in that case.
and it made me so happy and I cried and I'm like,
But-
ooh, yay, woo.
Yeah, last night I caught myself. I was at a Kaleidoscopes event and they do like the vinyl only kind of techno. If you haven't been, I'd highly recommend it. It's very
Where's
cool.
Benny?
Just walked out.
He just left.
If you want
He just
that
left.
real like old school European vibe, it's
Oh, that's what we
definitely
got. That's what we
it's,
got.
it's definitely very good. But then I caught myself because one of the big complaints that people in the studio has was like, dude, nobody knows about you. You need to start putting more content out. So I was like at this thing being like, oh, I should record this. And then I'm like, wait, I'm now working instead of having fun. So, that's where the line is.
Yeah, for us, even though we have to do it, the most annoying part is social media. What we
Yeah.
tell people is the easiest part of running a podcast is actually filming the podcast. That's
Yeah.
the easiest part. All the prep work, all the time slot negotiations, all the like we try not to wing our conversations just because if we're focused on a topic, we want to make sure we touch all the points. Like if we're doing camping, we're doing something like that, we just want to make sure we highlight all those points. All that prep work, and then we shoot in like an hour. That's the easiest part.
Hour
And
and a
then
half.
the social media is
Yeah.
the hardest part right
It
now.
is.
That is what in 2025. That's one of our goals is to hone in on the social media, just to like be consistent with.
So
how we
you'll
post.
be doubling down at the festival videos.
Well, actually, so it's fun. It's funny. I think we decided this last year, and I'm usually the one who posts it for us. We take one video of one, like if we go, like I went last night to Eric Prydz. I took one video of Jeremy Olander, and I took one video of Eric Prydz and posted to the social.
Out of 10, how would you rate that concert?
Oh, it was fantastic. Out of 10, so I'm a huge Eric Prydz head, and he's kind of veered a little way with Hollow, like just with the set list, but just hearing Prida, which is like more trancey, it was probably
Wasn't
a
that
9.
like 25
A
years
9?
of his
It was
like.
probably a 9.
That's a good number.
Yeah. And I went,
It's a great
I went
number.
Thursday also.
Oh,
So
wow,
I
you
had
went
both.
twice. Okay.
Yeah,
And did
Are
he
you
change or
going
was it the
tonight
same
too?
set?
maybe.
The same set, or did he change it up?
Change it up. That's the one nice thing
That's
about Eric.
good.
That's the one nice thing about Eric Prydz is it's a literal journey. He had 2 songs that repeated. One was a new ID he premiered. So
ID.
I may or may not be going tonight to experience.
Yeah, that means yes. You got a haircut and everything.
Well, I got the haircut for this. What are you talking about?
For Prince.
You know, one thing about the video recording, so with the like phones getting better,
Yeah.
I think that's why it's obviously skyrocketed, right? Because you can get clear audio. Before when the videos were happening, I remember recording. It'd be like
Unless you're
crunchy.
at the front where like the bass is like so intense.
Doesn't
you're
even
like,
matter.
No,
Yeah.
it does.
The only thing sometimes is that
It
for some phones, like you hear the conversation around them. But I always say there's 2 types of people: people who record the sets and people who record them at the sets. Those are the 2
Oh,
type of
interesting
videos you
take.
get, right? And I don't think anything's wrong because for me, one thing, if a venue says no phones allowed, I actually love that policy.
Yeah.
Like Stereo in Montreal,
Art
Oh,
Basel
yeah.
had
So
that
good.
at Club Space.
we call it what is it? They call it the temple. You
Yeah.
must respect the temple, is what I say, because you do not get that vibe anywhere else in the world. I would say.
Tom and I went to was it last year or 2 years ago? Went to Stereo, and yeah, what a vibe! I mean, Montreal as a city just has such an amazing
It's a
music
cult.
scene.
Yeah, it's a EDM culture. There's completely different.
Yeah, every pocket of Canada is very different, right?
Yeah. Everyone shits on Toronto, but like just based on our famous Facebook group TRC, you just see everyone shitting on Toronto. But I'm like, we're getting a lot of good stuff recently,
Getting some amazing acts.
and
yeah.
like
Lately, though,
all these
lately.
we had a little. I mean, COVID kind of like
there
put.
was kind of not even before COVID. It was kind of
Yeah, it was more like the same ones. It still happens, but the one thing I like is that we have so many new promoters and we have all these mini venues popping up
yeah.
that are turning out pretty good, right, for the vibe they're experiencing. And that's why even for like hard techno we talk about, I say we're one of the hubs now in North America for hard techno. Other than
for sure,
like
yeah.
it's literally LA, Miami, Toronto, New York, and then Toronto. I would say
reckon?
Vancouver's
For
starting
hard
to get
techno?
there.
for hard techno.
Yeah.
because we
Really?
get we're getting if
don't
New York
feel
gets a
that.
booking, we're getting a booking. We have so many hard techno.
You have
artists
so
now.
many hard techno. Yeah. You get some of Toronto gets some of the best up and coming, I'd say.
We have one next week too on Takeover 6s.
Take over the 6. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
also the volume of, and like, I mean, if there's so many event producers out there doing it, it means that the demand is there.
yeah.
Yeah.
If it wasn't, they wouldn't
Where's
be
the
able to do
Takeover
it.
6 happening?
Warehouse.
do-
TBA, our famous.
Our famous is it McCormack?
We always
Is
say
it
that.
McCormack?
No, it's not McCormack, but it's still a TBA where. No, I think they actually have a location, but it's funny. The
Oh,
the
it's
running
still
joke in
TBA.
Toronto when we see TBA warehouse. Oh, it's McCormack.
McCormack.
But that's
Sure,
not the
yeah.
case anymore because now there's all these little ones coming up. But I guess when
That's
certain people
awesome.
book, it's like TBA warehouse, aka McCormack. We always joke they should just get like a LED sign that says TBA warehouse on the side.
They should. They should
They
just
should
rename
Call
it.
themselves
just-
like
yeah.
rebrand TBA Warehouse.
TBA Warehouse.
Just TBA. Just
Yeah, there was a
TBA.
famous bar in Ireland where the owner couldn't come up with a name, so he just called it the No Name Bar.
Oh, one thing I wanted to ask, how's the scene in Ireland?
Yeah, the scene in Ireland, and this is something that Tom and I always talk about, is they are fantastic at supporting their local
Yeah,
talent. You know, like, and you know, parties in Ireland and the UK are
They're so different.
They're so different.
They're so
I would
different.
describe them as like an organized, messy chaos. You
It's
know,
like an organized crime
yeah,
at this point.
it's fun. No, it's definitely like, I mean, like the festivals here, you don't get the weather, so you're partying in the rain and the muck. So that's a whole different thing. But it's definitely, you know, it's. I would say that the amount of support you get, like you have, you know, some fantastic Irish DJs coming out and have been out. You know, you got Crystal Clear, Matador, Rebuke. Geez, I could probably go along the list, but I'll have to whip out my phone. But like we would book international DJs, but there's equally just as many like events out that are just local,
Support local.
as well. Yeah,
Support local
and
is
it goes back
key.
to the point, right,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I'm trying to say. Like, if you actually support the local talent and be like, not run yourself down, being like, oh, we're not good enough. Europe is so much ahead of us.
Whereabouts in Ireland are you from?
I'm from Dublin.
Dublin? Okay.
Yeah.
So I used to fly to Dublin all the time.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. But the scene there is insane.
yeah, it really
Insane.
is. The yeah, wow, geez, I definitely partied very hard. Not
You were
so
like
much.
Lifetime
you were
memories.
fetus.
Lifetime
You were
memories
fetus.
is what we
You were
call it.
fetus.
Memories, and I'm probably the reason why I'm living in Vancouver these days. So yeah, it's like you just have everything in between, from your mid-sized venues to, like, I would argue that it's missing, like, you know, what a big city has would be a super club. But honestly, if you had a super club in Ireland, it would be
It's almost
so
like
crazy.
you don't want to have a super club, because then like the little venues, you support the local acts so
Yeah,
much
that's true.
that you get bigger. Because even like Amsterdam, like they don't have like a big. I know they might have it now.
Oh
But
no, they do.
No,
They-
Like,
Amsterdam-
Amsterdam have it
for
now.
ADE, they do.
Yeah,
Amsterdam
I know
have
for
like
ADE.
super brothels,
Cubes.
like
Yeah.
they definitely have.
But like
super
you want to
clubs.
grow up in like a place where like they don't necessarily go to like Rebel or like loud luxury.
Well, actually, one of the things happening in Europe, which has been very interesting, happening in London for sure, is that small clubs are closing.
Yeah. Well, people aren't drinking anymore. That's another issue.
That's one thing. People aren't
That's a
drinking.
big thing, actually.
Yeah.
that
But
people
another
aren't
thing
drinking,
is
yeah.
that everyone's with the amount of events out there. Everyone just goes to like a super event, like drum sheds right now, right?
It's
Everyone's
true.
like you have a
Warehouse
Friday night, you have a
project.
Wednesday.
in
Fabric.
That is in London. Manchester is Manchester.
I went to
event.
Manchester, and Manchester blew my
Yeah,
mind.
Manchester.
The warehouse
The
project you
warehouse
probably went to.
project's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
blew my mind. I
But,
don't know,
like-
when I was a flight attendant, I went there a couple times, and I just ended up at a.
But I've heard because of that's the case, like the smaller events are suffering. to
Yeah,
get
well,
people
I
in.
think that's a whole. I actually don't even think it's a case of like. I would say there's venues out there that are doing very well. The argument is that, like, the landlord's just like, well, I'm going to sell this to a hotel
Yeah.
and make
What's
more
happening
money.
with Printworks? Because Printworks is getting
supposed
redone,
to come back.
right?
Yeah.
Supposed to come back.
Yeah, Printworks is very cool. And then
I've never
even
been.
like,
I always wanted to go.
yeah, I mean, if you ever watch one, is it the bicep at Printworks?
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Insane.
Bicep?
Bicep, yeah,
I'm gonna
they're
write that
also
down.
Irish,
Any
yeah.
video at Printwork is
Mental note.
legendary. Just everyone knows the iconic hallway.
Yeah,
the main
with the
hallway.
lasers and
Yeah.
everything. It's
I mean, there's lasers everywhere, but
I
like,
know, but the way they do it, it's like because
I
it's
know,
so
'cause
narrow,
it's so like
they
narrow
can,
and
yeah,
like just
yeah.
jealous.
So, what are your views? If you could like blanketly label the different provinces in Canada by genre of music, what would you?
Well,
place them?
I know Vancouver. They have a little bit of the hard style thing. So
Bit
I
of
know
that,
I know
yeah.
they I want to label them as a little bit of the hard style because they're the only ones who get like proper hard style booking.
Yeah,
Because I think it's that.
that's true.
influence.
They also have big bass heads as well.
Yeah, they're-
love bass.
Yeah. The one thing I want to talk about with the different regions is that how everyone. I find Vancouver does a little bit more like the Europe where they have larger events, but they do have the smaller clubs. But I find they get like that Pacific Coliseum that they
Yeah,
have.
Pacific Coliseum is actually quite big. They're starting now. Like there's is it called Industry? Is it Industry? So basically, there's like a big warehouse that they've now like legitimized, which is very cool. There's another one that I've seen. I think it's Platform 9. Like, yeah, there's definitely. When I first went to Vancouver, it was only Paradise really that was doing it, and it was like in the basement of a club in Chinatown, and it was members only. Like, so literally, you would have to like pay a membership to go, which was
How much was the membership?
it wasn't that expensive. I think it was like $30, but still a bizarre like thing
for
to
a year?
do.
Like
Yeah, for the year. And then and now it's just you're seeing more bespoke places open. Like one of my favorite breweries out there, 33 Acre, is walking past there on a Wednesday. They have DJs in there playing, and that used to just be like quiet. So I think there's definitely something brewing in Vancouver, and I mean there's like again,
Their scene has me
Yeah.
the most interested because
Yeah.
the bookings they get, I'm like, huh, how'd they pulled that off?
Yeah.
It's like they're the ones. So if I had to label the other, like the three major cities, Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, Toronto Tech House. Like Tech
Okay.
House just dominates Toronto.
still.
It's
Still.
still dominates.
I think it's getting even like more aggressive tech house.
Really?
I reckon. Yeah.
So now this one's a little bit interesting. There are people out there who call Montreal the bass capital of the world.
I believe
that title to me should go to Denver, in my opinion.
I've heard Denver has some serious parties.
Like Denver,
Colorado, yeah.
I thought we were talking Canada.
No, but I'm talking about in terms of the bass scene. But some people have gone out and said that Montreal is the bass capital of the world, which has been very interesting.
I mean, that is very interesting. But I mean, it's just got such a cool vibe in itself.
Yeah. But
very close to them. What about Calgary?
See, I don't have that much experience in the scene.
Anyone
I know
Calgary scene. Anyone here? Do you want to take a seat?
Former guest Scott, Easy Rider.
Recurring member, also DJ. I think one of the things I'll say, across the podcast here, I give a shout out. I think one thing that's cool about Toronto that I love
is
the podcast people.
Podcast scene. Also, the thing that's interesting here is there's so much opportunity to make your own name for yourself. Like, I'm part of, I guess, technically 3 DJ collectives, and it's just all people who have a similar vibe. You kind of pick a sound for your collective, and then you just run with it.
Yeah.
And like we're doing events all the time, just like me and my friends. Like there's lots of places, lots of people, like even like people interested in local artists, like kind of like what you guys are saying. And we've seen a lot of success. I mean,
I think local artists are like the way to go. Like we need to really focus on them because there's so much talent in Toronto.
And it's so neat because like I don't know if there's a lot of other cities in Toronto or in Canada other than like you say Montreal, Vancouver, where you could do something like that. Of like I got 4 friends and we're all kind of like introductory DJs, know how to mix. Let's rent a venue for 150 people and throw a party, and it gets sold out. You know, like it's crazy how this can happen. Like even without a huge thing.
How do you get it to sell out? Like what is that?
Internal network promoting.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Like do you tell your friends and like how do you get it to like how do you get to that level?
I think a big part of it is just telling your friends.
You tell people it's a wedding.
Well,
sending invites like yes or no.
And it's interesting how like it's kind of one of those things where if you have a whole bunch of friends who want to go, you kind of choose your collective. I guess this is kind of like inside baseball here, but you pick your collective who are all kind of different groups. So I bring 20 people, you bring 20 people, you bring 20 people, you bring 20 people, all different people. And then there we go, we got 100, right? And then you can sell some tickets online, some people are interested in it or not or whatever.
Do you make your friends pay for that?
We do now. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
But we try and price it really cheap.
I try to not do guest lists if I know the person playing because honestly, this is not an easy business. And
you gotta
going
support
in
your
and
friends.
giving $30 or whatever, I'll do it. Like,
So you're saying that you wouldn't charge your friends to?
I wouldn't. But let's say I was playing,
or you would charge them maybe like $5 or something.
Here's an example.
Right? Like because I like that's a fine line, right? Don't you reckon? Like, I would probably have like a core group of friends, and then like who goes into that core group of friends and.
Yeah, I don't know. It really varies. Like if I know that maybe the venue is expensive or like they're struggling for numbers, like I'm gonna pay it because I wouldn't like.
You would pay it.
Yeah, I would.
Oh, you would pay
it.
Yeah. The one what Scott touched upon with these, like we just did our episode with Just Dreaming. We talked
playing later by the way in the live stream. Go check it out.
The Snake Eyes event.
The Snake Eyes event. Shout out. Shout out Just Dreaming. Shout out all our local collectives that we've worked with.
Yeah, no, this
also
is
B&B
because all of them have the premise of the idea of growing together, which is exactly the thing, right? Like there's some politics maybe involved with like affiliation and stuff, but in the end they just want to see someone succeed. Like when we had Just Streaming on, like bringing your friends, having someone new DJ for the first time, people want to see their friends DJ for the first time. Everyone wants to be a part of it. 100%. So they can bring like 20 people, right? And that helps them grow. That allows more opportunities for others. So in the end, it's just contributing back to the scene, which is, I think, the pretty much the like top baseline of what everyone should like focus on is like you all have to grow together. The more people you have, you're just all going to grow together.
I mean, that's pretty much our philosophy here at Sleepless Studios is giving everyone a voice, a chance to be able to do something. Yeah. You know, I think like one of the reasons like I was like so gung-ho on setting this up with Tom was like one of my dreams is to actually play at Bass Coast in Merritt in BC. And great festival.
I've never been, but know about it.
The thing was I was like, right, I gotta go like submit a mix, I gotta practice, and like for the life of me would be calling people, things are booked out, rented out. You know, I'm like pleading with studio owners, being like, please, can you slot me in for 30 minutes? I'm like, what is this? Like, why do I have to like, you know, eventually I did buy a DDJ, but it was just like, it shouldn't be like this, you know, and that's why, you know, we're open 24 hours. You can it's an app. You don't have to call anyone. This is, you know, our
it's such a
space.
cool system. Even like today, just walking in with the open house, I see the doors locked. I'm like, scan, and it's just like unlock door button. I'm like, oh, that's so simple today.
Yeah, that was actually really cool downstairs, and also
So it's
like,
still security, but open security.
yeah,
exactly.
and also like your space is unreal, and like the prices that you guys charge for it, like.
Look at the prices
Unreal.
online, guys.
Unreal.
As a creative space,
Guys,
really
like
good.
as a creative space, like I know so many producers like that are trying to get into it, and like they can't afford their own like
MIDI controller, sound
just
card,
even just regular
playing music
whatever,
loud.
and then they also want to do like the drums and stuff,
Yeah.
and like they want to put that all together. The prices are so affordable, and it's insane.
We just had Benny
Like, it's actually
DJ for the first.
insane.
That was the first time he ever touched this. What is the CDJ
CDJ
2000?
2000.
2000. That's the first time he's ever touched it. But you never get an opportunity to do that.
Well, this is
Yeah.
another thing. Like Tom and I were DJing when we were learning, right, and going out in Dublin. Like some of the first times when you would be DJing would be the first time you could see DJ, and you're just like,
heart
Yeah.
pounding.
yeah, like I
Everyone's
have no
staring at
idea what
you.
I'm doing.
That's exactly what Benny was at. I'm like, Benny, smile. He's like, no, I'm too focused.
That's like and also our hope is like that also can impact you negatively. So let's say some promoter gives you a big break, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna nail this. Sit up, and it's a 3000. And you're like, fucking, I have no idea how to use
That's
this.
fucking hard.
And then your quality of your set isn't that good, and the promoter is like, you know what, maybe not next time. Whereas the hope is now you can get that out of your system, and you'll be better for it when you get your
for sure.
opportunity.
Yeah, like I learned a lot from the Just Streaming guys, just based on how their philosophy is to, like, from local stages to global.
Yeah.
But like, it gets rid of that a little, like, especially like with people debuting their first set, like they have their DJ boot camp.
I mean, that's why we partner with Just Streaming as
Yeah,
well.
and-
Like we do the things because, you know, we also believe in what they're doing, and that's the type of thing we want to buy into here as well.
Yeah, you just like, if you help someone through that initial stage, you never know. They might just take off.
Yeah, if
they
they
just.
just- yeah.
But if you don't, like, as what you said, if all of a sudden you somehow get a gig and you're not prepared at all, then you could ruin your chances right there.
Yeah.
Just with word
Or
spreads.
even-
Word spreads in our
Yeah,
industry.
Not even like as a producer, like as like with an event producer, but yourself.
Yeah.
You might like suddenly be like, I actually hated that experience.
Yeah. I tried to DJ this one time, and that was great, and then all of a sudden I was not great.
Yeah.
Right now I have too much going on, so I'll just stick to IDing songs.
Yeah, I was
and,
gonna-
and post it. Everyone's like, "Why aren't you DJing? You just ID." I'm like, "I'll just stick to IDing for now."
Trying to convince Sunny to start DJing.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things, again, sorry, like, to get back on one of these other things with the collective that I'm working on now, what's interesting is after we've done it, there's been so many people now who see us, like, who are our friends up there playing, and now they're interested in it too. So I guess talking about like growing the space, like if you keep like a open attitude, you're friendly, you're willing to meet people, and you know, they can see that it's actually achievable, you know, like doing a DJ set, or, you know, running a podcast, or, you know, any type of these community oriented things.
So here's my like second question to that. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No.
So do you think that maybe the DJ space and like the EDM scene has grown so far and has now become so mainstream that there's so many DJs?
Saturated.
I feel like
sure.
Everyone's
very
a DJ, the
saturated.
term?
I feel
Yeah.
like everyone and their unborn child is a DJ. And
Yeah.
like you go and like whatever, like guys, girls, like they get like their little decks and like they're DJing, which is great. I love that. But like, do you think that it's a little bit harder now to get into that space?
So I guess my answer would be that I kind of got lucky because I started this probably 2 years ago. So I'm on the upper crest, and now a lot of people are starting out on like the lower crest,
Yeah.
right? Like of their journey, right? So
Like me.
yeah, so I kind of got lucky because like a lot of the stuff of, you know, like going through the ropes, like building a library, right? Like that takes years. Like I've kind of already kind of
Yeah.
been there, right? So like, you know, I have so much to learn. I'm not like an expert by any means, but if you're just starting out, you know, I've kind of already been there and
Yeah.
got the experience. In terms of saturation, I think it's true. I think the thing is with anything, like if you have consistency and it's something that you're really passionate about and take it to the next level, you will see success. Because a lot of people, even who I know, who, you know, say, oh, I want to be a DJ, get a DDJ 400, realize that you got to download songs, you got to do mixes, you got to do bookings, you got to practice a crap ton, right? To like get have decent at all, right? Like a lot of people aren't willing to go through all those steps to get there. So like
Yeah.
everyone can be a DJ and everyone can make a video on Instagram, but in terms of, you know, like booking, doing events,
Yeah,
like
you need to have a
running.
good manager.
Our
Yeah.
latest
and
reel just
stuff.
explained this. Our latest reel we
Yeah.
posted.
Yeah.
Essentially, like with stagnation, in the end, it's how much you put into your project that you want. You like,
Yeah.
even as you're starting out, like
Because
you have to invest into yourself.
But EDM, like let's call it spade a spade, like EDM and all that stuff, like techno, big house, Afro house, everything has become more mainstream. Do you not agree?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
sure.
there's every genre. Like you
Like
could
every
say
genre,
drum and
which I'm not
bass.
saying
Drum
is
and
a bad
bass isn't that
thing.
big at the moment,
Yeah.
but it's gonna be big.
But it's gonna be big,
Yeah.
and then like
It's always
the
been
other
here,
ones,
too.
Yeah,
Trance
It's
is dead.
like
Yeah.
Chance is dead.
Yeah. But
We hope it's coming back.
but I think it's one of those things almost where like it takes where you can get to it. I think it's a lot of work, a lot more
For
than you
sure,
think.
it's always a lot of work. Yeah.
And I don't even know. I'm kind of of the view where I think it's a good thing. Where for me, like if again we have my collective, we all bring 20 people. If we have 2 more people who want to learn how to DJ and it's their first show, they're gonna bring 20 people, right? Because it's their
Yeah,
first
exactly.
time. And like
100%.
and if they all like EDM, then maybe they'll come back next time, right?
Yeah,
So like
100%.
I think it's kind of cool because for a long time, like top 40 music or whatever was kind of dominated by whatever like rap and pop and stuff, but I guess probably even over the last 15 years, like they have dance breaks in like
we
almost every
had
pop
that in
song
Toronto.
now.
Technically, if people remember, Veld had a rap stage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It,
Like
it
now it's kinda
marketed to
crazy.
both.
So
Yeah.
even Glastonbury have come out and said they're going to have to reevaluate their stages because the dance stages that they have are much smaller than like the live music stages,
Yeah.
and they're getting absolutely like mobbed.
Yeah.
So
like I think there's not honestly a better time to be a DJ because like even like even
the resources are out there too.
Yeah, well, and I'm even thinking about like the Charlie
It's
XCX
harder,
album,
yeah.
like Brat, like that's like a techno album, like
Yeah.
it's pop for sure. But if you like didn't know anything about it and you played that 5 years ago, you'd be like, oh, this is
she
techno.
blew up as well.
Yeah,
She
I mean,
blew
she
up.
blew up. So
Yeah.
like there's so much
Here's my
interest
question:
in
how
it.
do you guys feel about Big Room?
There's like
Big Room never dies.
Like, Big Room never dies,
Yeah.
right?
But it did die for a bit.
I feel like
Yeah.
you're questioning the Big Room.
Are we still alive, by the way? Do we know? Yeah, we are.
Are we like talking to ourselves? Yeah.
Big Room never dies, but it did die. But the resurgence,
No,
Big Room techno is right now big. Is what is
No,
what's
just
resurging.
I'm not saying Big Room techno. I'm
I
talking
would say
like
it's on a bit of a. I suppose maybe it's going more mainstream.
a little bit.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You
I,
can take
I
it
feel
down
like
if
the
you want.
techno that I used to like when I was learning, when
No, I
I
just
was
want
playing techno, it
regular
was
big
like
room.
135.
So I'm gonna take my leave.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Great.
be on the other side of the camera. So all I can say about the Calgary.
Are you going? Are you
Yeah.
going?
Yeah, that's
on?
where we started. We
Yeah.
started with the
Yes.
Calgary
No, no,
thing.
I'll be here. I was going to the other side of the camera, but I think Calgary doesn't really have a scene.
That's
I'll be
what.
honest.
That's my
Yeah,
take.
that's where I'm from originally. My friends there, they go to hardstyle shows, and I saw
there's a
like
f-
Mallet.
there's a
there.
few
There's a
DJs.
scene.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
scene, but it's like
DJs
Callous-
go to
not.
Callous
It's like
Theater.
I think
Yeah.
it's very underground. Like
Oh,
there's
yeah,
DJ
Edmonton,
Goa
actually,
out
yeah.
there who like is a
Yeah.
big godfather of a lot of stuff that's happening in
Yeah.
Vancouver. He's moved over there. I think
The
that
Godfather.
like
they're
he is a
getting
bit- he is a bit
everything.
of
They
a-
just don't have one popular thing. Is what I find.
oh
That's
that could be
fine.
true.
Yeah, I think
That's
that's
okay.
how I view Calgary because I have friends who like they post a bunch of stuff in Calgary and it's like different show. They got Hybrid Minds recently. They got a bunch of underground techno.
You'll know EDM becomes the mainstream when the Stampede has EDM.
Yeah, they do. No, you
That's
do,
true.
seriously,
They
yeah.
do.
They got their
They
boots
do.
and they got their boots.
There is a song out there,
They'll
Better Than
make
Gold
a-
by
a
Justin Hawks.
shuffle, but like country style
It's gonna be
dancing.
like-
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think they do actually have a little EDM scene now. Or a little
No,
Yeah.
they do.
or a little
They-
Loud
they-
Luxury,
they-
whatever, but
They get enough events, but it's funny too.
Wasn't Loud Luxury actually there? Didn't they get like snowed over?
In Calgary?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was in
I,
A lot of
Calgary.
snow in
believe
Calgary.
it. I would totally believe it.
Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much for hopping
Thanks,
on. If you
yeah,
want to
thanks
drop
everyone.
Thanks,
Pass it over to you, Karen. Anyway,
You
yeah.
crashed it. You
So
crashed
hard.
it.
He's like, get me out of here.
Cool.
You're
We're
gonna
getting
join?
another person from the
Okay.
audience.
We technically could squeeze someone in the middle.
It's
no,
a bit of a
I'm
tight
like,
squeeze.
this is my support pillow.
Hey guys.
How's it going? How are you
I'm
liking
good.
the day?
The showroom is pretty cool. There are lots of people that come in and ask questions, so it's very
Yeah.
nice.
Open till 9 today, guys. So
Yeah.
drop by
Open till
whenever.
9,
Yeah, drop by. Doors open.
Drop by now.
All right.
Bye.
Just for the new listeners, my name is Ekern. I'm also part of Back and Body Hurts podcast. I'm one of the co-hosts. And hope you guys had a good topic so far. What do you guys have discussed?
Yeah,
And
lots of different things.
I should
Tell you
know
what,
because I've been.
you pick a topic.
I pick a topic. Since we are talking a little bit about Edmonton having a scene, well, I'm from Malaysia.
Okay.
And Malaysia actually has quite a bit of underground scene. They kind of have similar vibes as Toronto as how they start up. There are a lot of promoters that actually want to build the scene in Malaysia. So, but we recently had a few underground big DJs that show up. Rebecca was there,
yeah?
but I couldn't go to Rebecca.
She's great.
And then Hannah Liang, actually, I went.
Oh.
You went to,
And-
yeah.
I went to
remember,
Hannah
yeah.
Liang, and one of the clubs in Malaysia it's pretty loud in comparison to how Coda is. I would say the sound is very crisp and clear in
Okay.
that sense. But
Was
the
it like
venue,
Crystal Garden?
Wait, what sound
It's not-
system does Coda use?
What?
What sound system does Coda use?
Didn't they have PK speakers? I don't know what
Okay.
I know they have PK speakers, but
Okay.
I'm not too sure. I'm not too
Okay.
sure what Coda use. But in comparison to like the Void sound system in like Nomad, it only sounds good if you're up front. But when you're at the back of Nomad, you don't actually.
I think that's just bad acoustic management.
okay,
Yeah.
that's also that's also something about Nomad is that for some reason I don't know if it's the one audio engineer, but every time there's always someone different. I don't know if it's the
There's dead spots in there for sure.
yeah, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like you go to one show, sounds completely different to another show, and the other side is too
But it's
bassy.
actually, to be honest though, it is. I was there this summer. It's a cool vibe though.
Yeah.
If they've designed it
Nomad?
well. I think so. Like the
No,
backdrop.
I
you never
really
went to
don't
when
like
they had
it.
the
The
thing in the
bar-
middle,
The bar, in the
middle.
The
The
bar in
bar
the
in the
middle, and then
middle.
they charge you $10-15 for
They had
Yeah.
a bar
bottle of
in the
water.
middle of it?
Yeah, so
Yeah, it was,
when
like,
it first
right
started,
in the middle.
Nomad, they had an oval bar in the middle of the club.
Wow.
And
And
then
then people
awful.
were just that'd be terrible because
It was
bad.
terrible.
It was bad.
It was
bad.
terrible.
It was bad. And then after they started moving it to the side, and then the whole floor started open. But that right in front of that bar is like dead spot in terms of sound, so you can't really hear.
Yeah. I was in where the Kaleidoscope was. Is it like basement 42 or
Yeah.
basement? There's a number there. I don't know.
24.
24?
Mhm.
Okay. Maybe I just got it mixed up.
Dyslexia.
245, whatever. But they have at the back some sort of custom built speaker, and it is
Really?
sick. It's like wooden, and like the light is built in around corners, and it like flickers during the bass and stuff. That somebody must have custom built that for that place, and for the size of the venue and the fact that it looks like it's like a downstairs of a bar or something, they've done a phenomenal job in that sound system.
Shout out to all the recent audio engineers that are out there, like even those AV companies, because like even all these warehouse parties popping up, the sound is going off, and we
Yeah.
know they come in and set up for those ones, and they're honing it for that space. So like even with the the engineering behind it, like Void,
Yeah.
you can bring in a Void system. Obviously, you have to tune it. But
Yeah.
whoever's doing it nowadays for a lot of these,
So I think a lot of the places now are actually focusing on like the audio, like
well, they have they should.
like they
Yeah.
have to. I know.
they
Well,
have
like
to.
but like there's so many clubs in Toronto where it's just like it's absolute dog shit.
because it's
Sorry.
like custom in-house
But,
sound. No
like-
one upgrades
It's
it.
tough though, right? Because like I was at a friend's birthday party and I was DJing at it, and one of his friends, it's like a taco bar really, but like he booked it out for his party and we were DJing on it. And some guy was like,
You booked a taco bar.
Wait, is it the one?
no,
no,
it's
not
in
here, not
Vancouver.
here.
It's in Vancouver, and one of his friends was like, "Dang, they just need to invest in like a really good sound system."
Do you know
I'm
how
like,
expensive that is though?
yeah, that was when
yeah.
he did. It's like because like running bars and nightclubs is expensive, and like
Yeah.
there's so much ups and downs. Like you can go all in on one promoter and they don't sell shit, and then you're not selling any
Yeah,
drinks.
Vancouver's
So,
just
like,
as bad as Toronto with prices
know,
for renting. and
yeah,
everything.
so
it's
like it's tough, right? It's a tough balance
tough,
between
yeah.
having like music which can be played and audible versus like tweaking like top tier like sound engineering.
So
It's-
I also think, I don't know if you guys agree with me, but I think in Toronto and maybe in Canada in general, it's a lot of FOMO, and people just want to go to like see the events and just like take a video and that's it.
Yeah.
well, that's
No
what
one
happened with
re-
Tulum.
No one really cares about like the sound system or whatever, but like us, people like us, we're so smart and
Well, it's also about the experience matters too, and the
the
experience
experience
involves.
does matter, but like you want to hear like a good sound. Like we were saying, like sound at Crystal Garden was pristine.
It was crystal, yeah,
right?
pristine, yeah.
And then like you go to like a main stage or like you go to an Electric Island and you're like,
Yeah,
But hey, Val main
you
stage.
can't compare it, but like
Val main stage sound system is pretty good.
I will give it that.
Yeah.
Not the
Yeah,
other stages.
but like the
Not
way
the other
that
stages.
they-
Not the other stages.
Well, you have
the
this
way
year to
that
go
they
to.
lay it out, though,
Yeah.
you can't really like it's
You,
just,
you
I don't
can't. You
know.
can't.
Maybe not
yeah.
main stage.
It may, I would say like Toronto people love to buy in on the hype.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
it's a FOMO thing. It's a FOMO
So
thing. Yeah, for
going
sure.
back quickly to Malaysia, who are some artists that are like noteworthy up and coming? Do you know of any that are coming out of Malaysia?
I went back for a month, so I
Yeah.
actually did not stay for any longer. I wish I stayed for any longer so I can get to know the scene better. So I spoke to one of the organizers that runs an underground rave scene in Toronto, and he said that like for any upcoming artists that are becoming good in Toronto, they already know. And they know the price of like how to hire them and things like that. And some of the spots that when I was growing up in Malaysia, I wasn't really a degenerate just yet. And, then, and now going
Just
back,
yet.
and now
Clip that,
going
clip
back,
that, clip that.
Yeah. And then
I
going
want to go back.
now going back, when I see some of these artists coming and the spots that they host, I was like, there's no way growing up knowing that right underneath this office building in this basement there was like just graffiti everywhere, and it was just so ghetto, but like just
Graffiti
banging
means
music. And I was like, oh, okay, as times have changed, you know. But I grew up never partied in Malaysia, so if there is a rise in the opportunity to go back for an extensive amount of period of time, and I would definitely love to explore more for sure.
Yeah. Right now, Southeast Asia is popping off.
Oh yeah,
It's insane.
but I think that Southeast Asia loves the trance and techno scene a lot.
EDC Thailand's happening this
Yeah.
weekend.
Apparently, it's not that great.
Oh, EDC Thailand.
EDC
It's happening
Thailand,
like
is
right
it?
now.
I was
Yeah.
at a wedding, and
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
wedding guests was with his girlfriend, and they were playing a game to see how many tickets they buy there and then. They were like rolling
I want to
dice.
play a game.
I want to play a game.
They're literally
Giving
like,
Jigsaw.
he was like, oh,
Jigsaw,
you got
right?
12 guests, we're getting 12 tickets. I was like, genie.
I don't have 12 friends.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'd love. Yeah, I'm always on the hunt for new artists coming out of places. So if you have any, let me know for sure. But yeah, and then you moved to Toronto, and then how did you find yourself into becoming a degenerate?
That's a good question. So
Where did it start? That's a good.
where
That's
did
a,
it
that's
start?
Kodak,
I
Kodak, Kodak.
I did Val 2022, I believe. Yeah, Val 2022. I just moved to downtown Toronto, and then my buddy said that, hey, since you got nothing going on this weekend, why don't you just buy a ticket?
That's
to
how they
Val,
get
right?
you every time.
And
That's
I was just
how
like,
all of us got into it.
yeah, and I was just
You got
like,
nothing
you know
else
what?
going on?
I'm
No
free.
way.
I have some funds. So why not, right?
Yeah.
So and once I popped in, standing almost close to the rail of main stage.
You're always at the
and-
rail. You and Benny.
Yeah, almost at the rail of main stage, and I just fell for it. And next thing you know, I started asking my friends, and they say, "Oh, this artist is coming. This artist is coming." And next thing you know, I'm like,
He has a spreadsheet.
I have a spreadsheet. I have
Days
like
counting day.
I was 70 events in 1 year and things like that.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
like 1
70
week.
events.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then that's how I met Claudia and Sonia
Yeah,
too.
that's how he
So-
met me. He's one time he's just like, I see you everywhere, so I'm finally saying hello.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I would literally go to like Coda or any event, and all of a sudden I'd like feel like a tapping on my shoulder, and I turn around and it's your and I'm like, how? Where? From where?
Yeah.
Hello?
So I do see a lot of people, and I have a very distinctive look because like I have a beard with I'm Asian with beard, right? So everybody's like,
that's true.
Yeah, that's
how do
actually
you-
very weird.
how do you grow this beard? And, things like that. And usually that's like a starting point. And I was just be like, you know, it's all natural, man. I'm sorry that you're jealous. you
I
know?
never,
I didn't go to
I never
Turkey.
actually, I never actually thought about that or asked that question.
yeah.
Go to 70 events a year and you grow a beard.
I think that's I think you can put it that way, but yes. But I grew the love in the scene, and then like when you're scratching that surface and you start having this itch of like just want to contribute more to the scene, and next thing you know, you're looking at artists that are posting on SoundCloud. They are going up in collectives and things like that, and you learn from skill sets of how they DJ. And when you watch YouTube videos and you find that you're not just listening to YouTube videos or SoundCloud anymore, you want to watch them twist the knobs and things like that. So and that passion kind of grew, and I find that in order to be not so invasive in the scene, you just want to kind of stay in a spot where everybody kind of recognize you, and you have this niche market of podcasting. So and
it's our way of giving back to the scene is how we reiterate, right? Like, we're not DJing, we're not promoting. Well, we're not. Well, we may do, but you know what I mean. Not yet, but like we're not like.
It's almost like we're friends.
Yeah, exactly.
We are friends. We're friends with people, and like come hang out with us.
Yeah,
find us.
It's our way of contributing back because it gives a platform, just like any podcast studio, for people to speak or promote themselves. Right,
for sure.
Which is, and you get a lot of video content out of it that you don't have to film either, right? So it's kind of good for
it's like a different type of content as well that's consumable.
Yeah.
You know, like you were saying to me earlier that the podcasts today are consumed by the reels, not necessarily the long form content.
Yeah.
Which is true, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it is interesting. Like you film an hour conversation and then you listen to it and you're like, okay, 20 seconds here. 20
I
seconds
have a good 20
there.
seconds. Let's edit.
Actually, it's funny. We've done episodes before where we've gone through and we've been like, I can't figure out anything to make a reel from.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's tough.
The
And, like,
the ones
there's a part of me being like, do I become more outrageous? Like, do you have to become and like,
Do you have to
say,
do
like,
viral?
clickbait?
That's
No.
my
Yeah.
that's one thing that we've talked about. Everyone's just like, oh, you just need that one viral clip. I'm like, but that defeats the purpose of why we wanted to do
I
it. Like,
know, but
Yeah.
then you're also not becoming viral, right?
That's
But we're
and then
being
it's like the
wholesome. We're being
slow growth
wholesome. We're
process,
being
right?
It's
wholesome.
late stage capitalism,
We're
baby.
being
Yeah.
We're being wholesome.
So
We'll
I've
start
been-
charging TikToks though soon to
yeah,
Americans. So
yeah.
I mean,
Maybe
this
that's a
will be
revenue
this will be the
stream.
TikTok safe haven in North America. We could go to the hot take wheel. We have a hot take wheel here where
let's
we
do it.
spin it and get a hot take.
For sure.
Would you be able to pass me the hot take wheel? Thank you very much. Tom is doing a tour on the side here. So
Oh, we have a hot take wheel.
Yeah, we
Nice.
have a
we
hot
have a
All
hot
right.
take wheel.
yeah, the
guys.
hot take wheel. Do you want to do the honors? I will read my
Okay.
terrible handwriting,
Okay.
but
Let's do
okay.
it. What
I
does it
think it
land
landed
on?
on light blue. So, hustle culture is toxic. Yes or no?
Hustle culture is toxic. In what?
It's not, because that's part of sales. You have to hustle to
Yeah,
get.
you gotta hustle.
Oh, interesting.
Like, what do you think
I don't.
promoters are?
I don't. Do you want to come sit for a second?
Like Europe, where it's expected to not hustle.
Oh, this
You know what? That's an interesting point. It's like a North American dynamic versus European.
I personally don't love the hustle culture.
I don't love it either, but I think you need to do it in North America in order to get forward. Like if you don't hustle, then you're.
For some reason, I want to
just
relate to the
enjoying
tip
life?
culture. But
I
I want to relate to the tip culture as to the same like baseline of like why it's happening here more than
Well,
probably
no,
Europe.
the tip culture thing
Tip
is
culture is separate from like what we're doing. I can get into this for hours on end.
so big actual. So all those like credit card machines that you use, they get paid by transaction, right?
Yeah,
so
there's
they
also
take a
2.5
cut off the tip.
Yeah.
So basically, they put it on, and you have to actually
There was
know
a
how
whole
to use
thing
the
in the
machine to
States
turn it
with
off.
the
And if
Nine
you're-
Circuit. Like we don't wear. Let's just not get into that.
That's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah. So if you're a business owner, to go, oh, by the way, we're turning off with the tips. People go like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
So yeah, what's your
My for hustle culture being toxic, I think it depends on where you look at it. If you are in the hustle culture, it's not toxic. But if you're looking from outside in, it is
I agree.
toxic.
That's a good
that's
Yeah,
good
so
way.
it's because
good.
like if let's say
You're so philosophical.
so philosophical. Don't
So
step
let's
the
say-
same river
okay,
twice.
for example, right, for us,
You should
when
grow
we,
that beard, eh?
Wise,
Wise wizard.
once he gets further in the scene, it'll slowly turn
just keep
grayer and
growing,
grayer
just keep
too.
growing. I mean, for us, right, when we started off, we just spent hours on end, like trying to build up the episode, trying to edit the videos and things like that. When we spend so much time with each other, and then if let's say other people who wants to hang out with us, and we say sorry, we gotta work, and that kind of way is like a toxic because like. I'm putting this thing first before like my friends and things like that. So
Yeah. Yeah. I like
so
how you
it
said
kind of
it.
depends on where.
Outside looking in.
Outside looking in. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, I'm ready to spin another wheel.
Oh, you want to do it again? Okay.
Another one.
Let's go again.
Okay, I'll spin it.
If you can read my handwriting, great. Else you can hand it back.
Okay.
It's the same one again. Happens a lot.
Okay. Social media killed creativity? ?
Bum, bum, bum.
I hear the clock ticking.
Dun, 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 dun.
I want to say yes.
Oh, yes.
I would say yes too.
I want to say no.
Why? So why?
I think because you have all these platforms, you have Instagram, you have TikTok, you have all these things, and like they have like pre-laid out templates for you to like do like, for example, little reels or whatnot, and then you just put in your photos and then whatever, it just spews it out for you. It's whatever. If you record it properly, it's great, but it's not authentic or anything. And I just think it killed it because everyone's trying to do these like 30-second reels as opposed to doing like proper content. I don't know.
But what is proper content? That's where I'm on the no bandwagon because
what is proper content? Do you know what proper content was before? You would do like an after movie or something for like 5 minutes as opposed to like 10-second or 15-second intervals where like your brain
but
just
we're
gets
also
cut.
the way I look at it, we're also the ADHD generation where people only have 30 seconds to spare to look at something.
Why does everyone have only 30 seconds to spare?
Ooh.
Shout from the audience.
That is the exact reason why social media has killed creativity, because creativity has to be in a box. It has to be in a 30-second box.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's
that's a
30
fair.
seconds.
That's a
That's a
very
fair
good point.
Yeah.
That's a very good
Somebody even said 8 seconds.
Because they said like and like before like in TikTok you
That's
weren't able
marketable.
in TikTok you weren't able to do more than 30 seconds. Now you were able to do like 4 or 5 all of a
But
sudden.
what's funny is actually a lot of the social medias want long content now because long content is longer term watching and more ads.
More ads. Yeah, like YouTube, for example. I was watching
It's
reels.
It's like bell-bottom jeans coming back again. It's like YouTube videos.
It's
are
all-
Flared jeans.
Yeah,
Flared
it all is a circle.
My one thing is that yes, I agree with that because then you're also following what's trending in order to become popular, which I totally agree. But it's also I find having more platforms to do it could also spur someone.
But
I guess like different type of content.
I mean,
So,
what's
like,
crazy?
social media is like it's easy. It's like snacks of marketing, right? Like,
Yeah.
It's like the easy, super.
It's like fast food media.
okay.
Yeah, that's the McDonald's video.
Yeah, but at the same time, people have now with the tools that they have in front of them, like, we could talk about AI or Photoshop or whatever. You can do more now with like creative things than you could have done like when
Now
my
is
content's
AI
growing up.
ruining creativity? That's another
It
thing.
is.
I think it is.
Don't you think that like if I put together like a really kind of low level after movie, which I'm trying to do from like my EDC Orlando thing, like if I put together that as opposed to AI putting something incredible, would that not mean like would the other like the thing that I would put together not mean more?
Yeah, no, I think
But
it
do people
does.
see it?
No,
That's the problem.
I guess
Well,
for like for
I-
viewing purposes and like for marketing, AI fine maybe, but like
I
I think we're going away from authentic, and it
Well,
kind
I
of
think that's a big
irritates me.
trend, right?
I think
So
it
we-
irritates me a little bit.
I think authenticity in terms of like a marketing
Authenticity
thing
is not a thing.
Well, it's going to be the next trend for
Yeah.
sure. People are
Yes.
tired of like the
Oh.
No, it's true. I think
It's not marketable.
it's authenticity is not
authenticity
marketable
is not
right
marketable. I think it's very marketable.
now. Authenticity?
Yeah.
No.
Or even faux authenticity. Well, no, authenticity. I think people want to see what the brand
Like,
is.
I would
People.
love to see her 3-minute video recap of Orlando EDC, but if you didn't follow her, you probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is you've got shorts, and if you love EDC and it's a good
Shorts are
video,
what's popular.
Yeah.
but that's
The crowd is here. The crowd is here.
Yeah, crowd is here in force. But yeah, no, it's interesting.
That's
Yeah.
just my take. Sorry.
No. I think that we have to get all takes. Yeah, no, it's interesting. Yeah.
I'm like an old soul.
I don't see the authenticity.
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 Authenticity. Pop off. We'll
Like-
see. Yeah, that's my big bet anyway.
I think authenticity is going to come back though. I think from
It
AI
has to.
generation or stuff.
Oh, okay,
Like it's going to, in the next year or so, it's going to be like,
We'll see how much AI keeps pushing. But
watch, I'm
it's
going to
already
be
a
so
lot.
famous.
it's gonna be a lot. But like
I
maybe
have
it's
so many videos.
it's an efficiency game. Like I think the thing that I think anyway with all this AI stuff, it's like, hey, give me, like, you're trying to brainstorm something, it can give you ideas.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
like, hey, how should a video look like? And it might give you an idea. Oh, that's a cool look. Maybe I'll actually try and do that myself. I think like if you can like leverage it as a tool like that, it's very powerful. Or you can be lazy and just go, yeah, okay, this is perfect. I'll just ship this.
Yeah, fair.
I think it's the algorithm that kills the creativity.
Yeah.
So when you want to cater to certain types of demographic, and you need those demographic to be on those tools, but social media will try to keep pushing you to cater to more global types of demographic. They will say, "Oh, boost your ads,
course,
boost your reels here."
Boost your ads because they're going to get money off of that.
Give me
Also, how
money
much
and
time you're
boosting it, yeah.
scrolling?
Yeah.
How much time? What's your screen
I'm
time?
not going to talk about that.
No
That was
comment.
not
I keep getting
that
those
was not in
targeted
the
ads.
agenda.
I keep getting those targeted ads on Instagram for the reduced screen time, so maybe it might be bad.
I use one of those actually. It-
You
it-
eat them?
No, I put it on my YouTube reels, and it's really reduced the amount of time I look at YouTube. But I do catch myself being like, "Oh, it's not on this app." So,
Yeah.
but
So
yeah,
I can go on the other app
yeah,
and do that.
yeah, exactly. It's like a constant battle. 3 hours 39 minutes today.
I think that's
I'm not
that's
gonna- I'm not
average.
gonna
3 hours is around the.
That's the average.
I think
okay, let
it's
me
the
see.
average.
This has probably been a bad week because I've been in the studio the whole time. Are you
Is that
sure? Are
watching
you sure
our-
that's the
our
average? Because
What's your average?
I have a 6-hour average.
Honestly, ours are all probably bad.
Yeah. I think it's pretty bad. But
Mine's
I watch
bad.
more YouTube videos rather than YouTube Shorts. I think the algorithm kills.
Who's your go-to YouTube creator?
I watch a lot of games, video games. Yeah, so it only falls under my favorite games. So right now I play a lot of Slay Aspire.
Okay.
So it's like a strategic card game. So I follow Bay a lot, and it's a strategy type game. So whatever he thinks, I kind of like think while he plays, and to boost how I play the game better.
Okay.
But then I also clocked in like 600 hours on that game. So
There is some screen time.
yeah, it's insane amount.
Yeah,
So
your phone is 2.5 hours. And what's your console number?
my console number is high. So, but yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. I watch a bit of Johnny Harris. I don't know if you know him.
Mhm.
He does a bit of like geopolitics stuff. Who else? See, actually, Boiler Room sold there.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Do you know how much they sell for?
I didn't see.
Have
the
a
numbers.
guess.
Well,
Well, what's their brand worth now?
200 million
That's
Higher.
higher.
is it?
560.
Higher.
It's not in the
1B.
billions, is it? Are we in the billions?
750.
Are we in the B's?
Higher.
Are we in the B's?
Win the bees.
Oh,
Okay.
2.5.
1.2.
Bingo. On the money. There you go.
Cash out.
1.2 billion.
Well, Boiler Room can cash out to us.
You better watch this space.
At Boiler Room if
Yeah.
you want to hire us. That'd be so great.
But yeah, I think Boiler Room should be worth that much because they got artists from global scenes into everywhere else. Like
It's the platform too.
it is
Yeah.
the platform.
Everyone knows what a boiler room is now.
Yeah,
nowadays.
it's true. But did you see the Vancouver Boiler Room, the controversy?
How packed it was.
No.
No,
Was there another one?
No. There was, and I don't like to call somebody out about this because I know they work very hard on it.
Do it.
But there was some, there was one that was happened this summer,
Oh.
and on Reddit, like
think I know which one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
just
There's
keep
like,
on
there's,
going.
I don't know what happens if the speakers cut out, but there's literally just at one point somebody screaming for
Yeah.
like 5 minutes.
Screaming.
Yeah. I don't know if she's
like
trying to do
bloody
throat
murder,
singing
like,
or something.
Yeah.
Like just,
Yeah, I
heard about
or
that.
Like,
I think I don't know if they're trying to be experimental, but
It's like
yeah,
how'd they
it
get
was-
this gig? Is essentially what people
Yeah.
There
are
was a
wondering.
lot of
with the
questions
DJ was
around that.
screaming?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was interesting, yeah.
Interesting.
I think that was a moment for
gonna go YouTube
reflection
that
on like
after
how
this.
do you actually get a boiler room.
Screaming. Boiler.
Screaming.
Yeah.
Boiler Room.
But anyway, is there anything else? I think we're coming up towards the end here that
Yeah.
we want to chat about.
Not really. I just want to say thank you.
No,
Yeah,
no worries.
thanks
It's
for
been
having
great.
us.
Freaking awesome.
No,
This
thank you
place
so
is
much.
amazing.
Thank you to the audience as
Thank
well.
you to the Peanut
Yeah.
Gallery.
Follow
Thank you.
follow
Follow.
Sleepless Socials. Follow
Yeah.
Back and Body Hurts podcast.
Yes.
B&B
Yeah.
Hurts.
Yes.
And come down today if you're in Toronto. We are
If
open
you're
from 2 to
still
9.
here, yeah, come.
Yeah.
We are still here.
Yeah, thank you so
We're
much.
so
Thank you
fun,
guys for
trust.
coming down. Really appreciate you
Yeah,
co-hosting.
It was great talking.
It's been
You
great.
know, I
Yeah, thank
came
you so
into
much.
the
We
tail
appreciate
end.
this.
Yeah,
That's
that's
great. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. And
Thanks,
as
guys.
always,
Love this.
stay sleepless.
Stay sleepless. Bye.